Hey everybody, Ross Pitt here. Just wanted to come in to give a bit of a warning that today's episode, Wizzy's microphone got a little bit messed up, and it started just kind of skipping half seconds of things. We don't really know what happened. So this episode, and maybe the next few episodes, might be a bit bad in that regard. I wasn't able to get him to re-record his lines because then he got sick. So yeah, unfortunately stuff happened, but other than that, the episode's great. It's barely noticeable. It doesn't ruin the episode or anything. Have fun.
Hello, everybody. This is Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. I'm your host, Wizzy Puff. And my co-host, as always, is right here.
It's hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour.
That's not a requirement.
You made it a requirement when you said it the last 12 times that you have...
Did I say the same thing?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like me. I usually say different things every day.
Perhaps. I just remember a few times that you've definitely said, hello, everybody, welcome back to Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour, which is how it should be read.
It's funny, I don't even have a script.
Maybe I should give one to you.
Mm-hmm.
We just script out the entire thing.
We kind of do that.
Yeah, I was going to say that we read fan fictions on this podcast, so it's already scripted.
We pre-read it and then write funny jokes for us to spontaneously say.
Oh man, that's the good stuff. It's basically actually Mystery Science Theater 3000 at that point because they don't improv on that.
This is so much fun. Take Patty.
Hey guys, I'm Ross Pitt. I noticed that you didn't, I actually don't remember if you did or not introduce me. Tom, can you play back my introduction there?
I didn't. I was going to let you say your name, but then you criticized my intro.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wow. Yeah, it feels like that was just yesterday. Hey, Wizzy, how you been?
I've been doing great. You know what I learned recently?
What's that?
Zero sugar Dr. Pepper tastes exactly the same as name brand.
I shall try both of them.
It's insane. Especially if it's refrigerated.
I don't like either, so.
Aw, man.
I always expected that when I grew up, I was going to like Dr. Pepper because I just thought that was the adult thing, you know? That's the adult drink.
Yeah. Kids have stuff like orange soda and root beer, but then adults, they get cola and Dr. Pepper. Tonight on Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour.
We're reading more Sunlight Sliders. Whee! So last time on Sunlight Sliders, Sunset went back to get Twilight from King Sombra, and Twilight and Sombra are actually having a great time. They're having a nice little tea party together. And then Sombra is like, no, Twilight can't go. So Sunset gets a brilliant idea, and they go to the mirror pool and duplicate Twilight. And then Sombra's still not listening. So then they kill Sombra by blowing him the fuck up, as he does. And then they go to this other dimension, as they do, where Twilight sniffs a flower, and her mind gets erased. And then she freaks out, and they get attacked by a rock. And then they don't kill the rock, and then it's a cliffhanger. I wonder what's going to happen. This definitely wasn't spliced in from later on in the episode, after we've already resolved that plot point. Nope.
Ooh. Did you mention that Twilight ran off with the teleporter?
Right, Twilight ran off with the teleporter, too. I forgot about that, guys. You see, we haven't read this story in so long, and we definitely haven't already resolved that plot point in this episode.
Yeah, I wonder how it's going to happen.
As of recording this. Wonder what Aeon's doing right now. Today we're doing chapters 21 and 22. Who knows? Maybe even 23. Let's get through it quick and see. So we've either got 3 episodes left or 4 episodes left of this. Unless we're really lazy one day and just do 1 chapter.
All right, everyone. It's the 1,000-word episode.
Yay!
Ross isn't here because of a big accident that happened. But Wizzy's gonna be here to sub in the voice. Dub in the voice.
Is that what I sound like?
No, that was just me before doing your voice.
Well, I can't wait to hear my voice.
Hey, everyone.
God, I creamed my pants.
Jesus.
I'm getting edgy today.
Yeah.
We're recording at 11:02 my time.
Last episode was the edgy one. It was the horror episode. It may even have the Halloween theme. Who knows?
Do you want me to put in the Halloween theme?
I don't know. We did it for the one episode we did that was like a horror episode, but wasn't in October.
Oh yeah, I just did that for fun. Yeah, I might do that then. I mean, I might have Tom do that then. Saved it.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Today, we'll be reading Chapter 21, Death Scar. Thank you, Death Scar.
Thank you, Death Scar.
I appreciate you for writing a story.
Writing a chapter of a story.
Basically, a whole story in and of itself.
Yeah, I mean, there are stories on this website with less words than this.
Jeez, that's true. 50-word story, baby. Let's go.
I think they have to be at least 1,000 words a story, but...
Aww. I feel like you should be able to put anything in and then just, like, no one will read it if it's that short because everyone reads everything above that.
I don't know if that's exactly true, but okay.
Upstream error. Sunset dove to her right, barely avoiding another attack from the rock. She pushed herself back up, eyes locked onto the towering avian in front of her. Her legs burned and her lungs strained for air. The rock whipped itself around to face Sunset, its enormous wings sending forth a large gust of wind. Sunset dug her feet into the dirt, raising her arms to shield her face from the flying leaves and twigs. She heard another deafening screech, and upon lowering her hands, she spotted the rock launching itself at her, claws first. Sunset didn't have time to think. Instinctively, she dived left. She could feel a strong wind soaring past her body, then her thighs, and suddenly, pain. Sunset landed in the grass, screaming. Looking down, she saw that the creature's sharp claws had managed to make a long cut up her right leg. The wound had started to drip blood onto the grass below, sending a wave of panic through her. She attempted to stand, but a sudden sharp pain sent her tumbling back down onto the ground with a yell. She spun her attention back to the rock, and to her horror, the creature was approaching her one step at a time.
No.
Sunset dug her fingers into the dirt and attempted to crawl away. Her mind raced to think of a solution, a way out. Maybe she could use fire like Twilight did? Or maybe there was another item she was holding on to. As the seconds ticked by, a grim realization dawned on Sunset. She attempted to push it away, but as the rock neared her, she knew it was the truth. There was no way out. Sunset slowly turned back around, locking her gaze onto the fierce, remorseless green pupils of the rocks. Hey, the rock is actually Applejack. She hung her head and closed her eyes.
Our luck had to run out sooner or later, huh?
She could hear Twilight's laughter, the joy on her face as she tweaked a screw on the TPT. Just a few hours ago, they couldn't wait to press the button to venture out to worlds unknown. And now, she wished they never did.
Just stay safe, and don't make the same mistakes I did.
She begged in her mind.
I'll miss you.
The rock gave a deafening screech, and Sunset shut her eyes as tight as she could. She awaited her end, hoping that the rock would have the mercy to make it quick. However, as the seconds ticked by, Sunset heard nothing. She shot her eyes open, and the sight in front of her caused her jaw to jump.
What?
Twilight was standing in front of her with one arm outstretched. The rock's razor-sharp beak was centimeters from her palm. It darted its furious gaze between both girls, sending a chill down Sunset's spine.
Twilight?
Sunset called out in a nervous voice, but Twilight didn't reply. Suddenly, the rock reared back, its head piercing the canopy of purple leaves.
Twilight?
Sunset spoke again, but now the nervousness had been replaced with terror. The rock whipped its head forward, cutting through the air with its beak. Upon spotting who the attack was aimed at, Sunset felt her blood go cold and her heart freeze in fear. She yelled as loud as she could, tears forming at her eyes as the creature landed its attack.
Twilight!
A shockwave exploded from Twilight's position, shattering the nearby trees into splinters and wiping every blade of grass from view. Sunset stared in awe as a translucent ripple flowed from where the attack landed to all the way around her and Twilight, forming a sphere. Darting her head forward, she spotted the beak no more than an inch from Twilight's hand. My advice, if you ever try to hurt her again. Twilight spoke in a grave tone. Don't.
Finally, a line from Twilight that actually works with the voice.
The whole thing has worked with this Twilight voice. This is definitely one of my best voices, has been this one for Twilight.
Specifically for Twilight.
Well, yeah, this is obviously a Twilight voice. Who else could this voice be used for? Like Walter Cronkite? I don't think so.
Fair enough.
She pulled her arm back an inch before slamming it into the rock's chest, sending it careening through the trees with shockwave. Sunset watched as the rock tumbled through the forest like it was made of paper. That wouldn't really tumble like that. That would, swoop around in the wind, you know?
Sure.
Felling every tree it collided with. When it finally stopped, it quickly regained its footing before flying up into the skies above and into the mountains. Sunset returned her gaze back to Twilight, a mixture of shock and fear slowly creeping up her body.
Twilight?
Twilight spun back around, immediately rushing over to Sunset. Sunset, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Twilight attempted to move her friend, but a pained groan quickly stopped her efforts. She glanced down, noticing the bleeding slice on Sunset's right leg. I shouldn't have smelled that flower. I shouldn't have left you. Please, just hang on. I'll fix this.
Wait, Twilight, you remember?
Twilight nodded. She slung Sunset's arm around her shoulder, lifting her up and escorting her towards the base of a tree.
How?
Sunset asked through strained breaths. Aeon.
Aeon?
Sunset felt her anger building just from the mere mention of that name. She slumped
fucking
again.
Hate that guy.
Right? Or girl or
that thing.
whatever?
That fucking disgusting it.
That cop. Ugh.
Ugh.
She slumped against the trunk. A feeling of exhaustion rapidly overtaking her. Aeon found me. She put a bitter-smelling bag to my nose, and all my memories came rushing back. And
This just sounds like the author of this chapter was like, nope, don't want to deal with that shit.
right?
Here, have Aeon do some crap that's completely out of character. Why not?
I mean, Aeon was kind of warming up to them, but let's see how they explain this one.
I hope that Aeon is in the rest of the story, though.
Yeah, I feel like there's been a few chapters that have been like that, and, not the best way to handle a story like this.
Yeah, could be done a bit better. That's okay.
I'm having fun.
Perhaps it'll be done better in the sequel. See you guys next time.
Doo-doo-doo.
Oh, wait.
Twilight paused, drawing a confused stare from Sunset.
And
She gave me 2 of these. Twilight reached into her pocket, pulling out a small vial filled with a clear liquid. However, what truly caught Sunset's eye was the tiny metal flake suspended within.
that's...
Twilight nodded, placing the vial squarely in Sunset's palm. Sunset lifted it to her eyes, watching the metal pieces glitter from the sun's shining light. Glitter glue! Cool!
Yeah. Why would she help us? The daughter theory is going strong.
That is actually the best theory. She said she owes us, well, more accurately, me,
My best guess is from that incident with Sombra.
All right, so the daughter theory is going through a bit of a rough patch right now.
I mean, Twilight's not always the most perceptive. Twilight explained. She spotted Sunset twisting the vial in several angles, as if she was looking for something.
Drink it.
No offense, Twi, but I don't exactly trust her.
Twilight.
Fucking cop.
Amen. Sunset would be a cab, wouldn't she?
Probably. She's a bit of a punk.
Yeah, she's got that leather jacket and everything.
Yeah, and also that anti-authority, unless it's her authority.
That's the most punk thing that you can do!
Hell yeah.
Twilight thought for a moment before reaching down and grasping Sunset's other hand.
Then trust me.
Sunset looked up, blocking her gaze with Twilight's. Twilight was wearing a smile, and even though the expression was small, Sunset knew the meaning behind it was anything but. For a few seconds, there wasn't a word muttered between the two. The only sounds she could hear were the rustling of the leaves and chirping from the birds.
Rustle, rustle, chirp, chirp.
Sunset gave Twilight a quick smile of her own before turning her attention back onto the vial in her hand. She drew a deep breath, holding it for a second before exhaling. Pop a cork at the top, she lifted the vial to her lips and tilted it back.
Gulp, 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 gulp.
Sunset swirled the liquid around in her mouth for a second, and she was swiftly hit by a torrent of sweetness. Her face contorted into a disgusted expression, drawing a giggle from Twilight. She swallowed it as quickly as she could, shaking her head once it was down. At first, Sunset felt nothing. However, without warning, an intense surge of energy coursed through her veins. She gasped loudly and shot her eyes open as wide as they could go.
What in Celestia's name?
Sunset pushed herself onto her feet. She expected to be greeted with a crippling pain, but instead, she felt nothing. Glancing down at her leg, she caught sight of the wound swiftly closing upon itself.
Twilight, I feel...
Sunset stammered, attempting to think of the proper word to describe the sensation flowing through her body.
Alive?
Sunset took several steps forward, and a confident smile appeared on her face. She glanced back at Twilight, nodding.
Alive.
With the training teleporter in her hand, Twilight strolled up to Sunset, a worried look on her face.
What do we do?
Sunset stared at the device in Twilight's hand for a second, but the answer was clear to her.
We end that dimension-destroying being once and for all.
Agreed.
Sunset reached for the middle button on the teleporter. She hovered her finger over it for a couple seconds before retracting it altogether.
What's wrong?
Sunset looked to her with a smile.
You wanted to press the button back when we started. I don't want to rob you of that joy.
She winked. Twilight gave an elated laugh.
Oh, all right. Initiating dimension hop with the talisman.
She used the word.
Yay!
They're so flirty.
God, fuck.
That's going to be a whole chapter of its own.
Hell yes. Let's read every detail.
For this chapter, we got FimFiction's top M-rated author.
Whoa.
That would be so funny.
I wonder who is the top M-rated author, and I wonder if it is a Klopfic writer.
Short skirts and explosions, no.
I mean, they might be.
Those skirts were too short.
Actually, what am I saying? It's absolutely K-Cat.
Is that someone who's famous on here?
Yeah, it's Fallout Equestria.
That makes a lot of sense. Sunset's ears perked up upon hearing the word. She took a glance at Twilight, and a quick wink told Sunset that she knew exactly what she said. Twilight tapped the middle button, and instantly, a portal fizzled to life in front of them.
Let's go, Sunset. We can end this.
Twilight was about to step in, when she felt Sunset reach down and grab her hand. She faced Sunset, her eyes wide and her mouth agape.
Oh, right. They're humans.
Oh, dang, yeah! I wasn't even thinking about that fact.
I keep forgetting because usually rocks don't exist in the human world.
As far as you know.
Yeah. Together this time.
The words sent a red-hot blush through Twilight's cheeks. She tightened the grip on Sunset's hand and stepped through the crackling blue light. All the while, one word repeated constantly in her mind. Together.
Together.
Together!
Together.
We're just going to pile that all overlapping each other.
Hell yeah.
Together.
Together.
Author's note. Death Scar's stories can be found here. I wrote this chapter hoping to get the story set up for the end. This was before I knew we had returning writers, and to close at least one subplot. Hope I did a good enough job. Pop by my Twitter, @NormandyJaden, if you want to say hi. P.S. I had no idea what allomancy was. So for anyone who caught Ouroboros' reference, I'm terribly sorry for changing it to something else. Also call the cops. Novel had me locked up in his basement for 2 months now. Editor's note. He lies. He told me he likes the basement. This is good.
Alrighty then.
And now on to chapter 22.
Did we mention it was by Amber Spark?
Yes, the lovely Amber Spark and Company. I would have mentioned that, but I was rudely interrupted.
Hey man, I didn't say that you shouldn't do it.
You definitely stopped me from doing it.
No. I stopped you, but that's not what it was. That's not what I was stopping you doing. It was specifically the way you were doing it that I was stopping.
On to chapter 22. Ebon Quill.
Are you sure it's not Eben Quill?
It could be. Together. And then we just do all the togethers again.
Together.
As they stepped through the portal, one thing was clear. The training teleporter they'd acquired from Aeon and Stella wasn't acting as it should. Either it had been damaged during their dip into the mirror pool, or
something.
Sunset thought.
Let's not point fingers. Who's whatever.
They're back to horses.
Nay.
Instead of whisking them immediately to their destination, they'd entered a tunnel of light. After a moment's adjustment to the glare, she saw that they were traveling rapidly above a vista, resplendent with pale blue lines connecting pulsing violet orbs. These hung in a rich indigo night. Oh my god, what are they in? This is like the freaking abstract dimension that Squidward traveled to.
Oh, I hope.
That would be so good. Alone. She bit her lower lip, thinking, weighing cause and effect, possible schemes, moments ahead, the impending battle with Tarek.
Stella said it was a suicide mission. If they can't manage this, what are 2 nerds gonna do? Constance or not? Without taking lessons from Sparkle back there, I don't know that we can. Give up ourselves to save everything. How very Celestian.
She escaped Celestia one time. Now she has to do something like this.
She really is like her mom.
Oh my gosh. Sunset. Look. Isn't it amazing?
Twilight was staring at their surroundings. The blues and purples glittered in her eyes like precious gems. Sunset glanced up and lingered longer than she'd meant to.
Yeah. What are they?
Twilight fidgeted with the theory cube Sparkle had given her as she leaned closer to them, thinking. Sunset chewed her lower lip and tried not to think about the ratio of skirt to leg Twilight's human form favored. Instead, she focused on the upcoming battle, tallying up advantages and hindrances.
0 sum, no matter how I look at it.
I think...
Twilight started. Sunset quickly looked away from her mental math and back into the splendor shooting past them.
I think they're other dimensions, and the lines are conduits for other voyagers. Stands to reason, given where we are. I wonder how many of them are us.
The back of Sunset's neck suddenly itched. She rubbed it gently, looked away, and laughed. It sounded strained, even to herself.
What's wrong?
Where to begin?
Sunset said, staring out at the ocean of lights.
Sentenced to death for simple experimental rigor by hypocritical law enforcement, sent to find and stop a villain so powerful, said hypocritical cops tell me it's a suicide mission.
She stopped.
God.
She stopped, her rant cut short by a pair of lavender arms around her waist.
We'll handle it, Sonny,
Twilight said, her voice muffled slightly. I just realized that me saying it like in that voice just sounded like an old man saying, "Well, we'll handle it, Sonny."
The perfect Twilight voice.
Yeah, Twilight said, her voice muffled slightly by Sunset's hair, her breath close against Sunset's neck.
He's never really met you, and I don't know anybody I'd rather face him with. You're always so strong and confident when you let yourself be. You handled that rock while I wasn't home. You rescued me from Sombra.
She squeezed Sunset's waist.
When you actually allow yourself to shine, you're brilliant.
Sunset's cheeks burned so intensely that she was certain her face could be seen from one of the orbs below, had they the ability to see.
What's wrong with the little rationality, huh?
She fought to keep the butterflies in her belly calm. They suddenly wanted to try out for the Wonderbolts.
Just being real, Twilight Princess.
Ooh!
Zelda reference.
I didn't even think of that. And I'm the Zelda fan.
Yeah, you're the one who likes that gay stuff.
I was just too focused on the fact that she was flirting. Hey, Zelda's gay in a good sense, but you said it like it was bad.
No, what? No. I literally have a Catra profile picture on Discord.
True.
How could I dislike the gays? I love the problematic ones.
You only like the bad gays.
It's becoming a lot more real. Yeah. I just realized that like 5 of my favorite characters of all time are really problematic gay people. And like 0 non-problematic gay people. I like problematic characters.
I mean, yeah. You gotta have 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional characters. Those are the best.
Yeah.
Just like our girl Twilight here.
I was actually thinking Sunset.
I was just saying Twilight because this was the next word I was gonna read.
Twilight Princess.
Twilight shrugged her title aside and nestled closer to Sunset.
No, you're not. You're tensing up and preparing to come up short, just like the Battle of the Bands.
Sunset tried not to think about the warm pressure against her shoulder blades as she slid around to face Twilight. Twilight's hands rested on the small of her back. With a little trepidation, she folded her arms around Twilight's shoulders. Twilight pulled herself into Sunset's chest and sighed contentedly as she rested her head on Sunset's shoulder. Sunset spoke gently, trying not to spook Twilight or herself.
We defeated the Dazzlings with a lot of help from our friends, Twi. I don't know if you noticed. It's just us.
Oh, I noticed.
Wow, chicka wow.
And then the universe ends.
Dang, right before the sexy episode. The sexy chapter.
Very sad.
Twilight looked into her eyes. In the velvet light, Sunset realized Twi's face was as incandescent as her own.
Right. It's just us.
Twilight glided closer and leaned up towards Sunset, eyes lit up by the blue of the tunnel.
Just us, in the quiet before the storm. If we are constants, well, if we are, I'm glad it's with you. I might not be the best at saying it, but I've always wanted.
Sunset cut her off, pulling her into a tight embrace and kissing her deeply.
Oh my god!
Oh, it's happening! It's happening! Oh my god!
I actually didn't expect to get that hyped for that. But like, I have a huge smile on my face now.
It's chapter 22, it's happening! Oh my god, this has been like 2 years in the making, baby, for us.
Oh man, probably a bit more.
Dang.
We started this podcast in 2020.
Oh my god, I always forget that. It was during the pandemic. There are babies who can talk now. Who couldn't when we started this? Their bodies moved together, channeling the electric passion as they drank in each other. Like vampires. Sunset pulled away.
Ty, I'm sorry. What if this is just like back at that hotel?
Hush. That was then, and you knew to stop. This is now.
Twilight pulled her back into another. This one long, languid, and a release of everything they'd not said to each other. Instead, they expressed all those lost moments in this one kiss.
Wizzy, we're finally kissing.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Mwah.
I'm just going to put my entire mouth around the microphone.
I would put my mouth around my microphone, but man, does my microphone look phallic.
Yeah, mine too.
That would be really weird.
It's supposed to look like a Yeti, but, you know.
I could deep throat this thing.
No! This episode is just too sexual, you know?
Yeah.
It was the culmination of a friendship. It was the validation of restored empathy. It was a perfect balance. It was affirmation. It was a beginning. It was magic. And it was a long time before either of them recognized the pulsing lights hadn't come from either of them ponying up. After one that shone brighter and longer than the others, Twilight broke the kiss. Sunset opened her eyes, her butterflies thrumming through her body.
Whew.
She sighed.
We should have done that a lot sooner.
It wouldn't have been as good if you didn't wait this long. That's what my pastor told me. This episode is going in the dumpster.
God. Don't edit this episode.
This episode is just getting uploaded as is.
Just combine the 2 tracks and that's it. Fuck, I dropped that.
Twilight didn't respond. She was staring out at the multicolored lights sailing past them with a look of equal parts curiosity and horror. Sunset's butterflies petrified, landing with a heavy thud in her belly.
What is it?
Another flare of light lit up Twilight's face. She winced in pain as Sunset turned to see what was happening.
Jeez, I didn't realize the kiss was that bad.
The orbs near them were winking out in flares of scarlet light, one by one.
They're dying. I can feel them. All that magic,
Twilight whispered. As they watched, another violet orb expanded slightly, only to shrink violently into nothingness.
Oh no.
The pale blue lines linking it with the others shattered in a silent detonation. From the indigo void, a crimson beam shot ahead of them. This time, they felt their passage adjusting course slightly.
That can't be.
Twilight sputtered.
Tirek. That's Tirek.
Sunset felt the burning sensation of magic rushing along her veins as she called on the strange contents of the vial Twilight had given her. Whatever had been inside didn't behave like what Sparkle had done so long ago. Sunset wasn't sure what it was, but she was now ablaze with power. She pressed forward, flapping her powerful wings, and...
Oh, there it is. Not the sentence in the story, the thing that I dropped. Wings? Oh, don't tell me.
She glanced down at herself, unable to see her bat-like demon wings under all the cream-colored robes, and...
Oh, thank the sun.
Daydream Shimmer channeled her substantial magic into her wings and felt her aura brush against the edges of the dimensional conduit.
My girl.
Ah. First time we're actually seeing her in the fanfic.
Yeah. Wow.
The blue of the tunnel darkened to purple, and she shot forward in a red and yellow streak. A burst of rainbows flew past her as Twilight appeared in a shower of magic. Her hair now held streaks of yellow and gold. Her normal blue shirt and purple skirt had been replaced by a wide sapphire blue gown with glittering violet and rose streaks of chiffon. Her own wings soared. A brilliant golden energy spire stood proudly on her forehead. Dancing within her horn, spinning in Twilight's magic, was Sparkle's Theory Cube. Like an oncoming dawn, they sailed after the retreating form of Tirek.
Together.
Woohoo! Author's note. Ibn Quill's stories can be found here. Thanks for bringing a newbie along for the wild ride, novel. Thanks for the collab, folks. It's been great. And there's a little bit of tiny text. Original quote, romance, sap, 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 romance, kissing, sunset, stop being so grumpy. There's a princess after your smooches.
Well, ain't that interesting?
And that ends today's episode
Of Sunlight Sliders by Amber Spark and Co.
of Sunlight Sliders by Amber Spark.
And Co.
What did you think about this one? These couple of chapters, Ross?
I'm digging it. Oh man, I'm getting into it. We should just do rapid fire do the rest of this in the Celestia Code for the next few weeks, because I don't want to waste too much time away from this, because I'm so hyped for the ending. They kissed.
This really did fill my romance urge, because I've been wanting to do a good romance one.
We don't have to do romance stories now.
Whoa! Listen! We can do romance stories for the rest of the podcast's existence, for all I care. Romance is a great genre.
It's a great genre for suckers.
It is, you're right.
So yeah, I'm hyped for the rest of it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I thought specifically this chapter was like, I'm not sure who this author is. We haven't done anything by them before, but it seemed like they're really good at writing like artsy stuff. All that weird abstract colors and whatnot in that world was so like trippy. But then they also had like the chance to do the romance scene, which I think sort of meshed well with that writing style.
Oh, you're right.
All just coming together in a beautiful, artistic feelings explosion.
Feelings. Yeah, that was great.
Hope everyone here has a really good time.
Yep, me too. I hope that everyone was able to stand this episode. Because it was an interesting one. I don't know if this is a particularly palatable episode if we don't cut out like 50% of it.
I think we're only going to have to cut out like 20 to 30%.
Give or take. All right, well, we'll see. Thanks everybody for listening. Goodbye.
See ya! It's not a thermometer, it's used to measure humidity, so it's a barometer, maybe?
Dude, I don't know. I don't even know what half of the words you're using right now are.
Hygrometer. It's a little mini hygrometer.
Neat. Yeah, I don't have that, and I'm better off for it, I think.
Yeah, but I have a humidifier in my room, so I need it to make sure that it doesn't get too humid.
I also have a humidifier in my room.
Oh,
it's right here.
Is it nice?
It's a humidifier.
Does it dispense oil into the air and make a beautiful smell?
Yeah, it does something like that. I remember I used it last October. Remember when I got super sick and I had you edit like a whole half an episode that one time?
Oh, yeah.
God, that was awful. And that would have been such a great episode, too. No, it was a great episode, but still.
It would have been better.
I re-listened to that, like, at night, by the way. The Mayor in the House, fucking terrifying. And I cannot explain why. Just how... It's a scary fic. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's definitely one of the actually, like, scariest we've read.
I think it's legitimately probably, like, the scariest to me nowadays. I can get through the other ones at night. But that one, that's creepy to me. Like, even more so than Fleeting Light or sequel.
Personally, I still think Fleeting Light and Panatrophia are the top two, but Mare in the House and the other one we did that night, Let Her In,
I think it's
were definitely two of the scariest as well.
I think it's just because I don't get that scared by Eldritch horror. Although I do think that conceptually Fleeting Light is definitely creepier. I think that Mare in the House is just, the implications scare me way more re-listening to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It really does the jump scare well.
Yeah.
In writing.
Very much so. I really like this discussion. We should let's save that.
Oh man, I forgot we didn't even actually start the podcast yet. This wasn't part of it.
Yeah, we have not. Let's put that on the end card, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
Unless there's something really funny that would go great in the end card.
Oh no. Wizzy got up and slipped on a banana peel.
That would be funny.
That would be, but I'm on carpet.